Hi and hello and welcome to The Real Show. Of course, I'm Fred Slow. Alongside me is Mika Frankl. He's joining me from My Fight Show, and he also is the world of pro wrestling. Mika, welcome.
It's like the first time here, but it feels really familiar.
Yeah, this is what they in the industry call deja vu. This is you're devuing it, deja vuing it.
Ooh, all right. It's like I've been here. We might have done this before. I hope you guys are here with us.
Doing. This is a fun one. So the Real Show is neat. We go back, we rewatch episodes of Duke City Championship Wrestling at the historic El Rey Theater, and we give our recollection and opinion of. And you, Micah, you skip shows every other month because you're so busy in the world of combat sports. So you may or may not have been at this one. I don't remember.
I'm intrigued then. I'll let you know during the show if I am completely oblivious to this match or if I've only seen it on YouTube.
This is Duke City Championship Wrestling Season 4, Episode 23, Thrill of Tradition. It's the beautiful, okay?
Ooh.
I'm going to leave a little bit of the audio on because the commentary on this is fire. Because, and I mean, talk a little bit about this, Micah. How important is it to have really good commentary, not just in pro wrestling, but in like all combat sports?
You have to have the narration. You have to be able to bring the audience into the match, into the fight, into whatever you're watching, and have them feel like they're not clueless to what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. You know, a lot of films do it in an interesting way. They'll have like an aloof character, or they'll have like kind of like the eyes of the audience, so that like everything's being explained by exposition, like throughout the story. But that's what the broadcasters are, in pro wrestling. It's making sure that the story in the ring, if not visible and understanding, is coming across, on the broadcast.
I couldn't believe that Fernando was someone that just walked up to you and asked for a job. I was sure that he is somebody that you guys had to have found already doing this.
Oh, it's so funny you're saying that. So Fernando came to the very first show 3 years ago, and he was a fan. He was like a paid, like, and you get like front row. Hey, look at that talent right there. Gosh, I always do my beard right before. I kind of regret it sometimes. Like grow up. Fernando's so interesting because he came to the very first show as like a front row fan, right? He was a guy who had been familiar with wrestling forever. And has done a ton of stuff in the world of voiceover, right? So he had a ton of experience in doing stuff professionally in the world of entertainment. And he came up to me, and you know how he talks. He goes, "I'm the eloquence elocution. I am Fernando Gonzalez, and I'm very excited about the opportunity to come and work for you." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't offer you a job. Like, what do you mean come and work for me?" And he's like, "I think I could be a real contribution here. You guys are doing it." And then before you know it, we were sitting down, having a rich conversation about his world and understanding of entertainment and how it could apply to the world of pro wrestling. And sure as stuff, he was right. And he has become, he was ring announcer to backstage, and then he took over my broadcast spot. What was that? Probably a year ago, Micah? Is that right? Is that when I stepped out of the booth full time? So yeah,
he's been a little longer.
Might have been a little longer. Time flies. And then he's filled that role. And then obviously the mayor of downtown, Chris Burnett, and then NWA's Pollo Del Mar, who is an absolute weirdo and contributor in every way. And just fortunate are we to have that broadcast booth right there.
I've never met anybody that wants to work so often, that just wants to do anything they can in the world of pro wrestling. Yeah. Pollo is back there talking to everyone backstage, asking if anyone has another gig, another territory that she could possibly go contribute in, even just, hey, do you need somebody as a production assistant? So just as lovely a person backstage as a villainous person on the mic.
Yeah, I agree completely. And obviously I think in a lot of indies, you talk a ton about the talent in the ring, right? You can't just have, guys in athletic shorts and cut off t-shirts. This isn't, it's not a backyard. This is a television product. I didn't realize the camera was kind of off here. I don't love that. That's a note for the future. But, we talked about the broadcast, but this guy right here, Adam Merrick, like our in-ring announcer is top tier. He's top tier. Like, he's got no card there. He's not reading from anything. He's a guy who goes out there, commands the audience with the microphone, and the emotion and power that surrounds that. this is right after I was out there doing my, I do like a click the lights thing, Micah, before the show. I got there and I go, hey everyone, get to your seats, pay attention, because we're going to start. And he comes out and he just rock and rolls this thing. Like he's a full on dude.
I don't think people actually get how hard it is, what you just pointed out, that he's doing. For Adam to come out here and to make these introductions without having a note card, and to do it like in a match here where it's a multi-person match, where you're having to do it multiple times. If you look at Bruce Buffer, you look at the biggest boxing ring announcers, you even look at some of the WWE ring announcers sometimes, and you'll see in the hand they have the card, they have the notes. Well, we have a magician on roster. You're not seeing any sleight of hand from Adam Merrick.
This was a fun match here. So Cherry Bomb used to be Adrian Mascara. So Adrian Mascara had wrestled for us for, I don't know, 2 years, maybe 18 months or whatever. And, by way of Deming, New Mexico, by way of Colorado, back to Deming, and took a little bit of time away from the industry because life, right? I mean, that's how life works. And I reached out to her, I don't know, man, several months ago, a couple months before the taping of this. And I'm like, hey, would love to have you back. The crowd was about you. If you at all want to revisit the world of pro wrestling, I would love to be your return to it. And now Carmen Gapardo. So Carmen says to me, but at the time, with Adrian Mascara, she says, yeah, I'd love to come back, Fred, but I got this idea. How do you feel about racing? And I go, I love racing. Like, let's figure it out. And then, so then the Cherry Bomb character and everything that surrounded that, including that fun pit crew gimmick, which has only grown ever since, which we'll do in a future episode of this. But she's a super smart character, and this match here had a lot of talent in it.
I was going to ask, but you said we'll get there later. I didn't know what kind of sanctioning you have to do through the sports and entertainment director there to get a whole pit crew ringside.
It's so funny you say that, because it's a commission state, right? There's a bunch of rules on who and can and what can go on in the ring. The rules outside the ring are different. So like, if you go inside the ring, you have to be licensed. And then if you're a manager, you have to be licensed. But none of these guys are managers, right? So they're just there, but they can't, like, there's a whole bunch of rules, right? Like there's a whole bunch of stuff they can't do. So anyway, so we kind of gut check all those little things. And we go, are we cool? And they're like, you're cool. And it's okay. Like we're hitting the ground running. Taylor York here making a return too. Taylor York, the last time she was here, this was her debut at the Historic El Rey, because the last time she was here, she was at the Rio Rancho Event Center. And although a bigger crowd, I think we had like 1,200 maybe, but it didn't feel the way it feels in the El Rey, because the Rio Rancho Event Center, even quarter house, holds 2,000 people, 3,000 people. So this was a cool moment for Taylor to come out. And then Jacob East, her manager, who's also worked for us too. He came out and they put on a show this night. They did really great.
Definitely was. I was not at this show. I've only seen their debut back at the Rio Rancho Event Center, as you mentioned.
This was an important. And Carmen here is going to start early. Gosh forbid, we just get to wrestling ever on this show. Like
you can't have that. If it's a new character, you have to establish. And just seeing this version of her intro makes me excited for everyone to see her next match, the way that they take it to the next level.
Yeah, they're so funny. Also, we added a new referee after this event. So Raina the ref, she's great. She's based out of Salt Lake. So I think this is, unless like scheduling or whatever, but I think moving forward, we're primarily just going to have female referees in our female matches too. So, Kyle's out here, and it's so funny to me, the juxtaposition. He's trying to like gain control and do whatever. And these girls are like, no, we don't. Not interested at all, sir. Like, we're not listening to you.
There's just no respect for Kyle. The audience is showing it. I think the women took that tenure on, and you might be onto something. A female voice, they may be more inclined to be like, well, you haven't already bungled a 3 count. I'll listen to you.
Mm-hmm. This is so funny. So Jacob East is like, I'm going to get in the way of the pit crew. The pit crew is like, no, like, we're going to do the whole thing. And then Carmen gets a chance. And I don't know if you can see the phone there. They're doing a social media live feed of their own thing. And it's like, no offense to it, but it's like, no one's wearing lavaliers. There's no real production quality to it. But when you look at that social media afterwards, you're like, oh, okay, you got thousands of views. Like what? Like how did you manage this?
I totally feel the fear of horror of the guy on his knees trying to stream right there. Someone's gonna kick me.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is so funny. So when I'm talking to everyone backstage, I'm like, hey, the pit crew's a great idea. Stay kneel down. I'm like, people pay, a fair amount of money for the front row seats. I'm like, let's not, impede anyone's view. And as I'm watching it back now with you, I'm like, they're still standing. Like, get down, get down. And none of them are doing. This is the stuff I lose my head over.
That was a beautiful shot by the cameraman going in tight on Taylor. You already saw the abrasion on her forearm. Like, this has been a physical match that quick. And I wanted to ask you about that earlier on my fight show. Didn't get to it. How have you felt about the change in direction of the production, making it a more sportsy production than compared to the pro wrestling we were doing before?
I'd like to claim any amount of credit for that. I cannot. So we made the jump from our old production team to our current production team a year ago. I guess a year to the day, or a year to the show date or whatever. And these young bloods that we brought in, they're from PBS. So they worked at KMUM, and it was a bunch of early 20-year-olds that had found a bunch of experience making films and short films and doing some commercial work and stuff. And we literally sat down at a bar where I think they were all old enough to be in there. And they said, I said, can you make pro wrestling? And I gave them some examples of what we were doing before. And they were like, Fred, not only can we make this, we can make it way better. And I'm like, okay, bet. Like, let's go. And this is our last production where we had 4 cameras. We're now a 5 camera production with 2 up top and, really 6, 3 ringside and then 1 on the commentators. And the thing that's so neat about that, Mike, is they do have that opportunity too, because they have a live switcher, right, where they can go back and forth. And as soon as we add replay, which we had with our previous production team, that's when we're going to be the next tier. Once replay is in, and we can, afford Fernando or Chris Burnett the opportunity to recap what you just saw, fan at home, that's when you'll be golden. And I do believe we'll have that relatively soon with, the right technology.
It was perfect for you to be talking about the transition as Carmen was coming in. That was a perfect transition on the production to get that Santon into the corner. Oh, perfect. I mean, not to mention, I keep wanting to scream out, how is that not 3? This is a good match.
Classic Kyle. That's what it is. These 2 gals are, that one I think got away a little bit, but these 2 gals are like super high end in this game, right? Like they've wrestled all over the country. They have, at least this is important to me. They have a really positive presence on social media. They have a fan base that interacts with them. Oh, Jacob East up here on the corner. This is a good little spot. Jacob is so funny with that mustache.
He was trapped in the wrong neighborhood. I just keep thinking, why is he stuck in that corner by the entire pit crew? It's like he's forced into the background.
I like these little like false finishes throughout wrestling. I used to not care for them a ton, and then you'd see like a false finish, I don't know, spam, and then you'd be like, okay, here comes the finisher, and it's going to be over. But I really like it in women's wrestling because I feel like at any time, it could be the end in women's wrestling, and maybe it's not necessarily do I feel the way about men's wrestling, but whenever you get these quick little spots, I'm like, this is a good match.
Oh, and you can see now coming alive, getting the crowd into it, that emotion coming back. I like how this one is building up.
Yeah, Taylor York, based out of Arizona. She's wrestled like some of the best in the whole world. And Carmen Capardo, oh, there she goes, gets the big W there. Oh, look at that facial. That's such a good reaction.
That's surprised.
And the pit crew's just, they got her back, and poor Jacob East is like, what are we supposed to do? Like, we got so many photographers. Delaney Orberg's down there, and God, we just got a bunch of talent in this frame right here.
It looks like our photographers were so shocked about what was happening around them. Mm-hmm. None of this was planned.
The girl with the flag right there. So, I mean, I don't know what I can say or not say, but a super cool moment for her and Carmen to be in the ring together because they have a friendship outside of wrestling. So it was like, how can we incorporate, her into being your support? And, it's a little thing, but that flag is memorable, right?
What can you tell us about how she has felt about returning now? Because I'm sure returning, new character, there had to be some jitters and nerves.
There was, right? And we put a lot of preparation and stuff. And I ordered this is super inside wrestling. I ordered off like Amazon or whatever, like little party favors. I ordered like little flags and stuff. I was like, well, we'll hand them out to the crowd with this stuff. They didn't come in time. So it was like, all right, we're going out there, a little more in the emperor's clothes than we wanted to be, right? Because we had this whole idea to make sure the crowd was invested. We didn't even need any of that stuff. The crowd, right away met her and supported her in that, and it was awesome. So, yeah, great. A lot going on here in the live chat. From the live chat, so Duke City Championship Wrestling Day Oneer Michael Baca, he says Fallen needs a championship run for at least the summer. They're great, but they're not Fallen Gray. So I feel like Fallen Gray has sent her marks to the broadcast, is what I just feel has just happened here. So get ready for the Fallen Army. And I know they are loud and proud because I see them all over social media. Me and Fallen spent a fair amount of time together in Las Vegas during WrestleMania, and recognized was she around the world of pro wrestling. She's doing really good.
For those of you that get to watch this with the audio, I'm sure you just saw the most bipolar interview backstage we have ever seen in Duke City Championship Wrestling. That is a Molotov cocktail right there.
I forgot to turn the volume back on. I feel like an idiot. Also from the Instagram live feed, we see you, UWN Pro Wrestling. We see you, Crenshaw. I mean, there's a ton of people here on the Instagram. So thank you everyone for taking the time with us and me and Micah. It's fun to talk the world of pro wrestling. Why watching the world of pro wrestling.
And to Michael Baca, Fallen was in an opportunity. She had a match recently. She could have won the opportunity to be the number one contender. She had the chance.
Yeah. The obviously Chris Lujan is with us as well, and he says the same thing. Big Fallen fan. I'm a big Fallen fan as well. Yeah, she's got a world talent. She's got the WWE ID now, which is really impressive. She's going seen in the industry. And as long as we're fortunate to have her, we will. But she's like any of the really great competitors out there, they're sought, they're constantly booked everywhere and all the time. And for us to have her choose us, that makes us better. So yeah, she's a tremendous talent. Same thing with Pretty City Express, same thing with Manny Lemons, same thing, with some of these guys that come from great distances, Jaden Monroe, Zamaya, they choose to be here, and that's awesome for the fans in attendance.
With Fallen, with Zamaya, with Jaden Monroe, all three of them, rapid progression, I think, is what we're seeing out of them. The growth, the time that they're spending each weekend working, it's really paying dividends when you see them every 6 weeks here at the El Rey. It's like they've taken another giant step because they're 6 matches later in their career.
Yeah, isn't that something? It's watch them go. And, the kind of the example we always give is, we were the last indie that Jacob Fatu wrestled, before he went to WWE. And, that's an interesting one to us because I would have had, Jacob forever. But, the WWE saw him and knew the time, obviously the Anoa'i family and all those ties and those things. But, this, as we mentioned, is a destination for, not just pro wrestlers in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but the entire surrounding of the Southwest. And they make their way here, so that's awesome. That they choose this. Sky High's got a ton of talent. I don't know what about Robbie and Mondo, but they're based out of Las Vegas, and they're another one of those examples of, guys who, choose to be with us and choose to do it. And that promo before this, was obviously, Johnny Magna, who spends most of his time in Las Vegas power slapping people, so it's, the people in this ring are people that we're fortunate to have.
Also, just credit to Vice. I was looking at that intro for the Sky High, and it's like, man, such a smooth, cool intro with the Jets. I'm like, oh, that is really some top quality work done in production. Yeah,
I think Kevin made that. So we have the backstage guy, Kevin. He's really good at all of that stuff. And he was a day one. He was a front row fan too, like on day one. Yeah, he came to the show. He had worked in pro wrestling in Oklahoma. had quite a bit of experience in that world, right? And came to the show and he was like, "Hey, you guys might have like something special here. You guys might be onto something." And that to me was like, "Well, thank you. Somebody who's familiar with the industry, thank you." And he was like, "I want to contribute." And he started like, I don't know, like setting up the ring or something. He was doing like something else. And he was like, "Man, I love technology. I love producing." You see him on a lot of our live stream stuff. And I was like, "Well, brother, take over, the industry. It's called Gorilla." I was like, "Take over the back of the house. Like take over all of this stuff." And I don't know anyone in the industry who does it better than he does it. He's the way this thing's lined. I don't want to super show anyone, but what it looks like. The way this thing's lined out, he does it so very good, like so very good.
This puts the ducks in the row, keeps everything afloat backstage, and it makes it seamless while he's juggling a bunch of different things in the air. But totally off base from that, who told Johnny Magna that he should dedicate his ring attire to looking like a criminal on the run in the 1960s?
It's like he just escaped Alcatraz, right?
That shirt, right? How far did you swim in that? What chain gang were you stuck with?
He's so funny. His character is as interesting as anything ever created. He's funny and he's smart, and here comes Valak Vile, obviously, and the crowd loves him. Like seeing him in there's a couple really big pops every night. Hobo Hank, obviously. Tommy Two Scoops is usually as close, but this whole little routine here is this is as important as the Road Dogg Jesse James was to DX, as it relates to the historic El Rey Theater.
He gets the crowd worked up. Yeah. He gets them to buy in. We all ooh and ah. I don't care if you've seen it before. He can disappear and reappear right before your eyes. It's just such great, wholesome entertainment. The way that he provides this character, always brings it in and finds a dynamic new way to display his bird.
The from the Instagram is Manny Lemons on this episode. He's not on this one, but he's on like basically every TV taping. He was at the time of this recording the Route 66 champion. So you can catch Manny Lemons in future episodes. A bunch of shout outs here. Francisco the Ref is with us on the live stream. You can see him in the ring. And then here's a really nice one from the YouTube. NWA New Mexico Duke City Championship Wrestling is awesome. Can't believe we have an NWA territory. 2 scoops for the Duke City Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. I'll tell you what, with Brian Idol now having the title, yes. Yes, 2 scoops. Go get it. Yes, I agree.
I've never seen a wrestling audience take over a wrestling show from the promotion. I don't know if you guys talked about it back when they filmed, but when TNA was here and Tommy Two Scoops was involved in a tag match, they thought Tommy was going to be the B participant, get knocked down. And the crowd, I think, forced them to tag him in at least one more time than they expected because the Two Scoops chants wouldn't stop.
Yeah, he had a bunch of support here, and they were wrestling. It was the debut of someone in TNA, the Relevant, the Revenant, the Revivalist, the Revival, something, right? It was a tag team, and it was him and a cat from Texas, and so they put him out there. And I don't know if you remember, but his Titantron music was, he had a whole Titantron entrance, but it was 2 scoops like ice cream, and they were like, he's like, no, not like ice cream, and they're like, well, we're rolling with it. And then he goes out there and does his deal. God, this is so funny watching the crowd during all of this.
What is happening?
Look at the lighting too. Like our lighting gal, Bridget, and that's why this thing is just that much above where my expectation. Yeah, that's a good finish. That much above where my expectation from the live chat. Ref Cisco,
the
righteous, and yeah, that's who it was. If I knew every tag team and every promotion ever, I could not. There's so much pro wrestling.
They're the kind of Hardys with the Southern Baptist overtones. It was there that I knew it, but could not remember it. Good on referee Fernando.
Here we go here from the live chat. I want the feud to continue with Tommy and Antoine. Those guys are magic against each other. Hard, yes, they are. I know they're wrestling at Phase 1 coming up too. I know this rivalry is kind of spanned not just our promotion but the entire city. So yeah, you can definitely phase one. I believe is a Hold My Ticket partner, so you can find them. Yeah, but they have a show coming up where those two guys are going to go at it too. So yeah, they're telling they're going to fight forever. You know, they're the Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels of Albuquerque. They're the Bret Hart and Steve Austin of Albuquerque. They're the Bret Hart and Goldberg of Albuquerque. They're the Well, you get where I'm going with this.
Oh, yeah. This is like having Lex Luger and Sting finally actually go at it, because I needed you to get a tag team reference. This is like watching the Hardy Brothers, because what built to me seeing Turbo Test as a tag team was when they even went out to Iowa together, I believe, and they were doing shows. So they went across the country working as a team, and now to see them go in opposite directions, I understand why it is this viral between the two of them.
Yeah, they were working with Black and Brave out there. They did super good out there in Davenport. There's a lot of talent in that part of the country. Johnny Magna and Robbie Avion here. This is a guy. Robbie's been in the industry forever, you know, and I think Johnny Magna's not 2 years in, you know, and then these two guys come out here and, you know, clash in a way to where it's like, oh, well, physically speaking, they're both incredibly athletic. You know, they both approach pro wrestling very different. Robbie was a shoot wrestler in high school. You know, Johnny was a collegiate rugby player. You know, there's like all these different pathways to get you to this exact moment where you get to fight right here. Like I love all that aspect of it, Mike. I love that, you know, from anywhere you can come and be a part of the thing. I love it.
And I don't know where we even found Valak Vile, who himself has some years under his belt, but he's not a huge veteran compared to some of the guys that we have in the back.
He's a day oneer for us, right? He's been on every show except for one. You know, he's been on every Duke City Championship Wrestling show except for one. He's competed in every album except for two. And that's really, really special. You know, and Thunder is a day one guy. He's been on every single show. Antoine Giovanni, day one guy. He's been on, I think, every single show. If not, he's missed only but one. You know, that's not true for me. You know, I missed a show. That's not true for Hobo Hank. He missed a show. You know, that's not true for, you know, some of these other contributors we've had. But yeah, Valak Vile is not just a day oneer. He's a real day oneer, right?
Yeah. And this is the first time I'm thinking I've gotten to see Robbie working on his own. I usually see him a part of a tandem. This is the first time I'm going to see him triple threat, singles competitor, and displaying more of his own style.
Well, and we're so rich. Okay, I don't know how Johnny Magna got a chair. Those chairs are not gimmick chairs. That is okay. He's just relaxing. He's so funny. The roster at this particular taping, which was in February, this is the Thrill of Tradition one. So this is one where like Silas Mason was here, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the Country Gentleman. This was a really banger little night for us. But it was such a heel heavy night. You know, there were just so many bad guys, you know, backstage, and it was like, well, what can we do? You know, like, and you know, Robbie and Mondo, who, like we mentioned, they've been doing it forever. We'll take the tag team, just split them up. Cool. That's two birds with one stone. We can do it. And did they prove us right? Like they went out there and both of them super competed.
To really think about, like you said, the limited amount of time that Johnny's been doing this, the selling, the little bit of the facial expressions, there's the little things that he's doing well that I don't know until you're really studying the art form that you're actually acknowledging need to be done. You're probably just more thinking about, what am I doing in the ring? How am I hitting this move? It's this crowd work. It's that tiredness. It's the facial expressions that he's doing a really good job.
And you see this too in his Power Slap, you know, like because I know you watch all that. I know his fans definitely watch it. He's the same guy when he's out there, you know, for realsies, you know, slapping people in the mouth. He's a big, not just personality, but talent. And he gives all of that in every effort he makes and all forms of the camera being on. He's that guy.
He's a little more Jacob Fatu in real life than he is here, I think, actually. Where I think he's even more aggressive and crazed on the Power Slap stage.
I got a chant for you right here on the live chat. Sweep, 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 sweep. That's from photographer Xander. And then Don Cisco, again, grateful for Duke City Championship Wrestling opportunities they provided to me. That is a nice one. Don Cisco, I think, has refereed every single show. I know he's going to be with us in Las Vegas. That's his hometown, June the 12th. So that's going to be A lot of fun for him. I believe he's refereeing the main event, so super cool. That's one I could never do. I could never be a ref.
Really? You don't think you could be a ref?
I think I'm too big. I'd make the wrestlers look small.
I could see that. You dwarf me, like the one time they were like, hey, go help Fred out of the ring. And I'm like, what do you want me to do with the guy twice my size?
That's so funny. There was like 7 of you out there. And if you remember, so that was whatever the December show was, Last Light. And Chelsea Dotson hit me with the power slap. And I literally knocked me out of my shoes.
I think you made the right call in telling everyone she's no longer allowed to pull that one out. That was too extreme.
The amount of I don't have personal social media, but there's a big finish right there. The page has social media. I mean, Duke City Championship Wrestling. The number of messages were like, I know Fred's really hurt. And I'm like, okay, like Fred's done for. Big win there for Johnny Magna is Robbie Avion. He's got to eat the pin there at the end, Micah. What'd you think?
End of days. That was beautiful from Johnny Magna. I credit to both guys for executing that one.
Yeah, he's that guy, man. He's that guy. Takes the opportunities given to him and shines just like that. I mean, that little Eddie Guerrero thing is so funny, especially here in New Mexico. New Mexico Highlands alum is Johnny Magna. New Mexico Highlands alum was Eddie Guerrero. It's like if anyone can do it, it's him. All right, here comes. All right, this is a big moment right here.
This is a catalyst for a lot to come.
Yeah. And Johnny Magna was oh no, tomfoolery ahead.
You knew it was coming, man. Too telegraphed.
Oh God. And
you blinded him.
Oh God, look how bad Johnny Magna doesn't feel. And you're in the back with the broom just ready. You're ready to go.
I wasn't there for this episode, so think we're sending poor Ryan out there. We'll have a second rate sweeps.
Oh, cool. The pit crew came back out for some reason. Also, if you're gonna do a run out for me, put on a Duke City Championship Wrestling shirt. Like, what are you guys doing? Like at least he's got the hat on.
I don't understand this. Was this the member of the pit crew who was assigned to check the tires or the oil? Because either way, we're more worried about Valak Vile's engine at this point.
And there's the Renegade Ricky Rebel, who's obviously recovering from injury and still contributing. But yeah, he does a ton of this kind of stuff here. Yeah, I do recall from this. The gal that went out and swept, she was also one of the pit crew, and she did the most thorough job of all time. Like way better than you. Like, so she sweeps everything off and then like pushes it under the ring, and like does the whole thing. I'm going, and it's taken like a minute too long. I'm like, it's not that important. we got to speed the night on.
I've never had the thought of what could I do around the ringside. It's as long as we got it out of the ring, we might be okay.
Yeah. Again, from Don Cisco, talking about some of the opportunities that Duke City Championship Wrestling has given him, including officiating Jacob Fatu, Silas Mason, Mike Mondo, and getting the opportunity to work the TNA. Wrestling is better in New Mexico since we've been so fortunate to be around. You're aware, Micah. I mean, you've been in this desert for a bunch of years, and last year, in the calendar year, we've had TNA and AEW and WWE and NWA, and the Juggalos have been here, and the Midgets have been here, and it's more now than ever.
I think so than ever because I can't. That was the first time TNA had ever been to Albuquerque. They had been to Las Cruces, to New Mexico State a couple times previously, but that was the first time they had been here. WWE, that's the first time I could recall a Raw here. The first televised wrestling ever here was like WCW Thunder. So to get all three brands in 1 year and then AEW wanting to come back on top of, you've mentioned the 4 independent brands that we have and 2 of them that are national that make us a continual destination. No, I have never seen it like this.
It's awesome, dude. This is the best time ever.
This is a great time for the championship wrestling. Bad time for Valak Vile there. I can't believe you live by the one, you die by the one. That was a hard one.
From the live chat, Lucha Libre was here this past Saturday. The New Mexico lottery is running like a pro wrestling gimmick. Like, that's true. They did They did like a box show with a ton of lucha libre stuff, and then yeah, it's special, dude. It's just real special. But you talked to me about 3 years on your show. I'm gonna talk to you about 3 years on this show. You've been a part of it, Mike. I think you were one of my first calls when we started putting this thing together. Because you and I have been friends for probably 6 years, 7 years. We've been friends for a while. And we've talked about this before. We for a long time weren't able to work with each other because we were with competing 3-letter networks. But whenever this opportunity came up, you were one of my first calls. Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, no, you said, hey, we're going to get together. We're going to do pro wrestling at a theater, and we're going to do it monthly. And hey, I want you to do something. And so far, I do things. So no, I remember that call, and you told me who the partners were, and I knew the foundation and their roots, and we talked about some of the history of how other promotions had played out and how the battle lines have been drawn around here from what I understood. So yeah, no, I remember that call vividly.
You know, it was so funny because whenever we talked about it originally, I was like, well, I'll put Mike on the broadcast. Mike is a super good broadcaster, do really great. And you hit me with something like, Freddie, I got a lot of obligations with my actual combat sports job. Like, I don't know if I'm always going to be available. I go, okay, cool. There's other ways we can contribute. I tell you what, your impact, like back of the house, is huge. And not to like give too much anything, but like a calming force all the time. You know, it's if there's a little fire, you put it out quickly. If there's a bigger fire, you get help to put it out. You know, and if it's a lot of the stuff's talent related. You know, if it's you know, what can we do to make an incoming talent comfortable or welcomed or feel warm? Like, you have it. Like, you're that guy. Also, I guess this makes a ton of sense because I've seen you do this for years surrounding like Comic-Cons and all kinds of other stuff. Like, you're an absolute maitre d' of the city of Albuquerque to those who visit. And we're just so very fortunate to have you because you're awesome at this stuff.
Expert of talent relations and a little bit of media broadcasting. You guys can look out for. I actually get to make my debut broadcasting for Duke City Championship Wrestling.
You haven't done one yet? You've done the social media ones.
Yeah, I did the social media one, me and Van, and then got to join Pollo and Fernando at the last show. So you guys get to see that on YouTube coming up soon.
That's going to be sweet. From the live chat, this was mine and my son's first ever NW New Mexico DCCW event. That was us on stage with the big gold title. My son, the CM Punk white t-shirt. That's so sweet. I think I was a front row kind of thing. There's maybe that was the birthday kid, that one. But also like Joel Rudo, who makes our belts. He also makes like comic books for kids. Like, and I remember like he gives all that stuff. And yeah, not biggest, one of the most important things to me, Micah, not most important, that's not even a fair. One of the most things that was surprising to me, Micah, was how many young kids have their first experience with through us. You know, we're the first wrestling show for not just the generation coming out of COVID, but you know, now the new young generation that's just coming up naturally. You know, it's been awesome to put this thing in front of so many people every single month and see it more or less succeed. You know, it's not necessarily where I want in a lot of aspects, but it's a lot further ahead than where I thought it would be in a lot of aspects. So it's it's the coolest, dude.
The response that the kids give to Hobo Hank, to Happy, Lowrider. There are several of these guys right now where you see it and it's like, wow, this is really that eye-opening. It takes me back to Tingley Coliseum and being in the stands and getting to see WWE, how it felt watching Sting when I was 6-7 years old. And you can see those looks. And that's the special part for us watching it as these guys are making those connections. And I've talked to some of those kids afterwards, or they want the rubber chickens that are on the floor and they look so excited.
Yeah, you're correct. You know, it's we did the birthday bash and my girlfriend set up a bunch of tchotchkes like around the building, right? And it was like noisemakers and hats and whatever. And you would like the amount of autographs I'm signing on paper hats, you know, is so incredibly high. And you're like, I'm like in my heart, do I think you're going to keep this paper hat forever? No. But do I know you're going to have the memory of this cool autograph you got from a guy that may or may not be kind of famous? Yes. Like, and that stuff's sweet. From the live chance, takeaway. Oh, this is a cool one. So this is not the episode we watched, but the last birthday bash, Manny Lemons came out. They call him Manny Lemons. His name's Timmy.
Timmy Lemons.
But yeah, it was awesome. Right here, my son. So so fan of Duke City Championship Wrestling, friend of the show, Michael, he talks about his son being him and his son being day oneers. I recall, you know what I mean? There's been like a group of fans that have been there through thick and thin, in and out, through the whole thing. And, you know, Michael's on that list, you know, and his support means the world to me. And if the opportunity were to come, you know, where there was a way to do a super fan, I'm going to figure that out. We're going to figure out the best fan appreciation possible. I know we're trying to go, but these guys are still going with us. Dream match here, Mike Mondo versus Tommy Two Scoops for the NWA national title. Yeah, that would be something. I mean, that is a lot of man meat in there.
I wanted to bring up that Manny Lemons. He just gives me this energy. Like, it's not on the same level, but there's so much attributes you could compare it to, like a Randy Savage. How there's this high level energy that he just gives off.
Yeah, he's like nonstop. From the second he gets out there, and then he wrestles really good. That match with, like we said, Antoine Giovanni last month was really impressive, but all of his matches are really impressive. Also, him and I went up to Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago to work out this show in Las Vegas. And he was telling me, he's like, man, I love pro wrestling in my life. I love more than anything. This, I'm like, I know, like, you don't have to communicate that. From the live chat, Chris says, what about more women's matches in DCCW? I mean, I think we're above the curve compared to a lot of indies around the country, but I'll say this, the women's match at the next one is going to be about as good as anyone. Drea is going to take on a Laura Jet, and that's going to be really good. I don't think we've announced that on anything yet, but the Drea Laura Jet match will be very, very good at Pride and Power, and that's June the 20th, obviously. And then June the 12th, if you want to make your way up to Las Vegas, New Mexico, I do know we have a bunch of women on the card there too. So yeah, I mean, women's wrestling is, I think, very strong right now in New Mexico. I mean, like anyone, you know, you can have your favorite flavor of ice cream, but I would say it's represented incredibly well. Also, you know this, I feel like I'm kind of ranting now, but we sprinkle it throughout the card. You know, we can open the show and close the show, and we can bring you back after intermission with it because it's that quality. You can kind of plug it in anywhere.
We've had fatal four-ways. There's been women's tag team matches. There's been women's title matches. There's a depth on the roster where I could see where Chris is coming from. Because if you wanted to do more, if the booker wanted to throw more on the show, if we had some opportunities, there is the depth on the roster to do so, even though I do agree with you. And with that depth, I think we have a faster female roster than a lot of the independents that you're seeing out there.
I'm going to read some. Adam Merrick sent this to me yesterday, and I forgot to reply to him, so I'm going to hit thumbs up as I'm reading this. So on May 29th, which we don't have a show before then, right? So that's when Zamiah will surpass Hobo Hank as having the longest single reign in number of days in Duke City Championship Wrestling history. So that is the day she will have held the title for 384 days, surpassing Hobo Hank. And then real quick, filling out the top 10 for you. Thunder was the heavyweight title for 317 days. Pretty City Express had the tag team for 273. Brian Idol had the Route 66 for 244. Mr. Happy had it for 237. Manny Lemons, who recently lost it, 226. And then For Sale, 226 as well with the heavyweight champion. Oh, I guess they won and lost in the same show. I had no idea. That's so funny. And then Turbo Test, which that tag team we talked about earlier, 133 days as the tag champions. And the recently surrendered Country Gentleman had it for 84 days. So there you go. There's a fun little history. Adam Merrick loves this stuff. He loves it.
And to prove the point, a women's wrestler will hold the record for the longest title reign in Duke City Championship Wrestling history. And I still give her the award for being the scariest person in the whole damn company.
All time ever. Micah, this was nice. You're like nice.
I try to be sometimes.
You can check out my fight show. What's the website?
CageMinds.com.
I knew that. I don't know why I asked that. I've been going to cageminds.com forever. You don't have like a direct link? We got to give you a direct link. Is it on Spotify?
Yeah, we have Spotify, My Fight Show, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Cage Minds Combat Sports News. You can find me a lot of places.
Yeah, yours is specifically very good for the combat sports stuff. I mean, obviously you do a really good job covering pro wrestling too. I really appreciate, and I think you said you had Kat on today, right?
Yeah.
I really like how you tell the fighters, not just from Jackson Wink, but New Mexico based. You know what I mean? And I think it's neat because that arm's length access that you have with those guys is not available specifically in that industry, but specifically around the country. You know, it's like what you are able to get here, and it's because of your effort. I know you're down at Jackson Wink. I know you're making the calls. I know you're making it convenient for people. That cat interview was like in a layover, right? Like you figure it out.
Denver Airport, heading over to Denmark, going to be fighting Saturday on DAZN, WBA world title. Yeah. And yeah, I know whether it's the plethora of boxing gyms we have out here, the 5 different MMA gyms, try to get around and visit them as much as possible. I still need to get over and visit you guys at the Dungeon.
Oh, I tell you, yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays over at the Dungeon. Correct. You need to get over there. You know, I think the class now is up to like 20 people. There's like a lot of trainees right now. And they're figuring out how to pro wrestle really good. From the live chat, Michael says I don't visit my family in Vegas, but I'm going for DCCW. That's so funny. And then friend of wrestling, Tim, he says Drea is taking over. He might be right. You know, she's currently sitting in the #1 contender spot. She's got a world of talent. She came over with the West Texas guys, and she is solid. So yeah, she's going to be a big contributor. But yeah, like you were saying, Micah, you make that effort to find them all. And then you gave me a scoop the other day. You're telling me like Combat Sports is taking over like bars and grills in town. And I go, what are you going on about? Like the things you know, I don't know. Like I learn from you. And that's what makes me a fan of you.
We have Tapia's Fight Lounge now down in the North Valley. Outdoor event May 30th. Boxing outdoors in the parking lot. I'll have more details, cageminds.com, for you guys this week on that one. Not to mention, I have a couple other shows and podcasts that we have up on the website.
What is May 30th? Do I have everything on the calendar? All right, I'm going. I know you're choking to get out of here, so we're going to cut this one. We'll finish because we actually went 2 minutes longer than I thought. Give me your final words, Micah.
May 30th, I think you have a celebration that you're attending, that you're hosting.
Oh, that's the anniversary.
It's the anniversary. I'll see you guys there after I get out of the fights.
We don't normally talk about the anniversary publicly because it's like an invite only event. It's the day Van and I met, my business partner, 2 Men On. It's the day we met 9 years ago, and we celebrated every single year. And the venue we celebrated at's the one we celebrated at every year. So I mean, if you know anything, you probably figure it out. But yeah, oh my God, it's so much fun. It's the stupidest night you'll ever have. Uber, definitely Uber over there.
Oh, I already know you guys. I have to Uber anywhere I'm going to go see you in the evening. I already know better. And that's why we have fun, whether it's 2 Men On, anything with Talk ABQ, or talking about Duke City Championship Wrestling.
For Micah Frankl, for myself, Fred Slow. Good job, everyone. Keep breathing.
Bye.